Okay, the next step is website design. Not the development, just literally the design of your website. So the interface design of the front end, what the client sees. Now, the design is super important because that's what converts your customers into buyers, or you converts viewers into buyers. So this is what needs to lead the client on a buying pathway. So it's the visual design of the entire layout of the site. So it's essentially building the graphics of the site, but without doing the back end work. That's what this component does. Now, with ProDesk, the great thing about ProDesk is that all of the services we offer are in sort of bite-sized chunks. So if you just want us to do the design, we just do this part, and then if you know how to build a website, then you can take our design and then build the site yourself, for example, or give it to someone else to do because you've got a brother that builds websites, or whatever the situation is. You can just use us to do the design. However, we do recommend just using us for the whole process because it cuts down the amount of people you have to interact with. And it keeps everything very coherent because you've got one team managing the whole process. So the design of the website needs to effectively get people to engage in the way that you've deemed necessary. So if, for example, you're going to be allowing people to book online, then you need those sort of calls to action being designed. You might have, a 3D calendar or something like that. Or if you're a shopping cart, you might want your products laid out a certain way on the site so that when you maybe roll over them, it changes to a different graphic. Or so all of that sort of conceptualization and that graphic design of the homepage and of the subsequent pages is what's covered in the website design stage. Now, the next stage, which you're going to handle next, is going to be the website development, which is connecting the website essentially to a CRM so that you can then edit the site and change pages and add pages and things like that. So that's next. The first step we're going to do in this step is designing the website graphics. So it's important to realize that when people come to your website, they're generally there because they want to use you. And this is a pretty important part to web development. You need to make sure that you're designing the website so that anyone who comes is getting the information they need in the quickest possible way. Another key point is that the average clicks on a website is one click. So if you can't get someone to do the thing that you want them to do within one click, then you've probably wasted that customer coming to your site. Now, what I mean by that is there might be lots of different options to do lots of different things with your business or lots of ways to research stuff, but you don't want your client to have to go to the team page, for example, and read about the team before they can transact with you. You don't want the client to have to go to a gallery page and then from the gallery page, then go to a pricing page and then be able to interact with you. You need all of the interaction buttons to be available on every page so you can get to a sale or get to a transaction or a booking or a quote request from every page of the site. So that means having things like floating bars that are always on the sides or on the bottom or on the top so that people can always get to these sort of action buttons, because you never know where people are going to land on your site, especially with search engine optimization. You might have one page that's about something really specific. Like, for example, we often find that, if people write a specific blog about a specific thing, then people will find that specific blog page. Now, the problem is most people, while they might put lots of information on their blog pages don't have the conversion tools or the interactive tools to get people to buy now and whatnot. So by making sure the website's designed in the right way, we can ensure that there's always these kind of calls to action and there's always buttons or interactive elements that allow the visitor to be able to get the outcome that they're after. So for example, if you have a restaurant and you've got an online menu, you need to make sure that your Book Now button is still available to the visitor when they're on the menu page. You don't want a Book Now button on your homepage, but then when they go to your menu, there's no Book Now button, so they've got to go back to your homepage to book now. It's all about keeping it convenient. So thinking about that layout and ensuring that the user interface, as it's called, that sort of user interface is simple for people to use and to navigate to the information they want, but more importantly, that it's always available to them to be able to interact at all times. So think of it a little bit like an app. You know, when you're inside an app, you've always got the buttons down the bottom to get to, or when you're using a piece of software, you can always go up to File or whatever the case may be. You've always got a minimize, maximize button. You know, it doesn't matter what software you're using. There's those similar things that are always available on page. And especially with websites where you're scrolling down through a long scroll, having lots of, for example, get price now or get quote now or download brochure or download price list, having lots of these sort of engagement buttons as you go down the page significantly increases the amount of conversions that people get on their website. So building a great website is not just about how pretty it looks. There are lots of designers that are great at designing beautiful looking sites, but they're simply not functional. The key is being able to design a site that's highly functional and visually appealing so that you're capturing people's attention with beautiful design, but also giving them a dynamic way to interact with you. So websites are like a living organism. Your business should be able to grow forever with your website as its kind of partner. And the partner needs to be able to scale with its technology. So it's important that when we're designing the site, we're designing your website to have room to grow. If you only offer 3 services at the moment, what will happen when you add the 4th service? So taking all of these things into consideration with your website design is very important. It could be as simple as adding, a carousel to your homepage or a slideshow or something of that nature, so that if something's added in the future, simply adding a carousel item or adding a slideshow item can be done very simply. It's also advantageous to have different kinds of gallery type layouts, different kinds of product or service layouts. So you've got a variety of options so that as things change in your business or as products are added, you can quickly change between the different kinds of galleries and the different views. What we sort of experience with some web developers is that they kind of build your site, while it might look beautiful, they build your site so that everything's kind of fixed in a position, so that now if you want to change it, you've got to go back to the developer and change it all again. Whereas what we like to do is, once we've created that visual website design, it gets plugged into a really good CMS, and by using CSS code and whatnot, the website's able to be functionally changed later. So the layout can quickly change simply by clicking and dragging layouts and moving them around or dropping new things on the page. And whenever these things are dropped on the page, they automatically become the style of your brand. So the old way of building a site would be to structure the layout in code and then allow the content to change within it. Whereas the new way of building sites is to allow the entire site to be completely dynamic. So anything or any tool or any plugin can be dragged in seconds, and then that tool or plugin or section automatically takes on the design of the brand. So designing the website design before you're plugging it into a website CMS allows you to have that flexibility. Next is website development. And this is where we turn the beautiful website design into a functional piece of interactive art. And it's like a brochure that speaks to your client, because the cool thing about the web is that there's so many ways to interact now. You've got everything from booking forms to video, audio downloads. You can charge for video views. There's so many different tools that we can build, and you'll note that we list all of those different types of technology on the Pro Desk. So you're able to buy them all individually as you need them, either all at once or over time, adding features to your site. So your site should be this endless growing technology central intelligence system that just keeps getting more and more powerful and automating your business in more and more ways. So the website development is literally plugging in the website design that you've done in the previous step into the technological central system, which is going to allow you to add technology later. So this is developing a set of design rules and plugging it into the system so that as you're dragging elements in or building the website out in the future, it automatically takes on the visual appearance of the brand. So the CMS that we use is highly agile. Now, a lot of developers use things like WordPress, and don't get me wrong, we're happy to set up a WordPress site if that's what you've got your heart set on. However, the ongoing development of a WordPress site or like a WooCommerce or BigCommerce or all of these different like shopping cart engines, Shopify, for example, all of these different sort of shopping cart engines, they're all kind of they're all systems that are built by companies. And those companies have very insular mindsets in the sense that they might offer plugins into some other technologies, but they're very clunky and they require a lot of coding, and they're generally developed by coders for coders. What we like to do is we like to give our clients the flexibility to literally go anywhere with their website in future. And to do that, they require a platform that is as simple as drag and drop, because we know that if you have to go back to your web developer to add something to your website or to change the structure of your website, I'm not just talking about content, but I'm talking about, I want a video as the background of my website today. I want to put snow all over the homepage because it's Christmas time. I want to have Santa Claus riding his sleigh across the top of the site, and I don't want to talk to my web developer because I need it in 2 hours because our special starts. Like, I'm talking that kind of flexibility. That's what we offer clients, and there's not many systems around. Well, there's literally no other systems around that I know of that allows that kind of flexibility. The system that we use allows you to literally log in and change anything on your site in a matter of seconds. Of course, we're there to do it for you. Of course, you know, you're great at what you do. You're great at your business. We don't expect you to be a web developer. So if you want to get us to do something for you, of course, we're there to do it for you. But the ability for you to do it yourself is critical. Like, you need the ability. You don't want to be handcuffed to your website. You need the ability to be able to say to your secretary or your wife or your son or whoever is helping you with your business, quick, we need to do this thing for tomorrow, or we've got this great idea, let's trial it for a week, or whatever it is. I mean, don't get me wrong, most of our clients never touch their website because we handle all of that for them, and it's very structured and systemized, and we know what's happening every month. That's great. But even when we make changes to the site, if the site was built in these sort of clunky management systems, the changes that are requires a graphic designer, it requires a web developer, it requires a copywriter, it requires all these different people to make a very simple change on your site. But when you've got a system like we have, you can send through a request and we can have one of our junior level team jump straight on, make a change for you and get something live. And that kind of super fast service, I mean, we get asked by a client to make a change and sometimes an hour later it's done and sent back, and the clients are like, wow, our previous creatives would take like 2 weeks to do that same change, just because they would send us it for approval and then we'd send it back, and then we'd have to, once we'd worked with the designers, then we worked with the developers, and then the developers would do it, and then we need to change it. Just back and forth for 2 weeks, something that should be very quick. Whereas with us, we can literally make the change instantly, have the client on the other end of the phone watching as it happens and making changes too and contributing to it if they want to, and then making that live as soon as they're happy, and that's it, done. There's no back and forth. It's all live. And we call that rapid development. So once you've got your website design done, we use a rapid development model to rapidly develop your website so that it's immediately available to do anything with and plug anything into in the future using API protocols and other systems that we have that we've developed over time. We've got literally hundreds of tools out of the box that can do almost everything in business online that we've built before for other clients, which means the customization and the implementation of that's incredibly affordable. So making sure that you have a central website system that's built on a very, very simple system is very, very important, because it's not the money you save now, even though, to be honest, our web development is cheaper than pretty much everyone, it's not only the money you save now, it's the money you're going to save in the future, because all of our plugins are also affordable. So if you want to see what our plugins are and what they cost, just scroll through the rest of the growth tools and you'll see, for example, set up a booking module, how much that is. You'll see adding a shopping cart, how much that is. You'll see, adding paid video systems so that you can charge people, a pay-per-view to watch videos. There's all these kinds of systems, to sell courses on your website. There's hundreds of different tools. Having a members area, for example, having a social media type setup. I mean, there are so many cool brands out there, or industries and associations, or there's all these kinds of different groups and organizations that want to be able to give their members a way of logging in or signing up or joining a certain kind of plan that includes certain things. All of that logic would cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to develop if you're building on these sort of WordPress type code-centric systems. Whereas the systems that we use allows us to plug something like that in almost immediately and then just spend our time customizing, spend your money customizing those things. They're very, very simple things that need to be customized, and we can do it very quickly. So it means you've got just sort of infinite possibility with your website and your technology set, so that you've just got this full stack of technology available to you when and if you need it. Not everything has to be this huge development, because I don't know about you, but there's not many businesses that I know of that just have bucket loads of money to spend on endless technology development. You need something that's rapid, that can be used straight out of the box, and that can be changed if it needs to be. And you can get some custom development done if it needs to be done, but it should be affordable to get that done. And most of it should already be active. And that's what we've got. So we look forward to working with you to take your website design and turning it into a website using website development.